The liberal media industrial complex is beginning to learn that despite their constant complaining about the president over the last 4 years, the majority of the American people have not turned against him. The Republicans really knocked it out of the park this year with their convention, despite the restrictions because of the coronavirus, and the Democrats are not very happy about it. The mainstream media is not used to having Republicans actually speak directly to their audience. They just have panels of Democrats telling the audience what the Republicans say and not letting them hear from them themselves.
Many on the other side love to incite division by claiming that President Trump is a racist. They could not be more wrong. Years ago, Jesse Jackson gave Donald Trump an award for the economic opportunities he created for black people. In Palm Beach, Florida, Donald Trump led the crusade to allow blacks and Jews into private clubs and resorts. One of the first things he did as president was bring the Office of Historically Black Colleges and Universities into the White House so that it could get proper attention and financial support. Before the pandemic, African American unemployment was at an all-time low. President Trump accomplished prison reform. He created incentives to encourage investors to become involved with economically deprived areas of America. He strongly supports school choice, fully recognizing that no matter what circumstances a person is born into, they can achieve success with a good education.
Of course, Richard Maddow and friends barely let half the speakers finish before dropping the feed and complaining about them.
We're just going to interject here for a moment and try to get a little bit of a reality check on.
UFC President Dana White KO'd the Democrats in a very powerful speech, which prompted an immediate rebuttal from MSNBC.
While it's critically important to re-elect President Trump, this pandemic has also taught us to be very, very careful who you select as your next governor, senator, congressperson, and mayor. It is so important to vote. And don't think that your vote doesn't matter, because to be honest with you, it has never mattered more than it does right now. Thank you, and have a great evening, America.
And this is the part where we pop up and say, some of what you just heard is horse hockey. I'm sorry to have to do this. We don't relish doing this. But especially on the issue of COVID, when they are distributing deliberately false information that is misinforming the public while we are still in the middle of a pandemic, we feel responsible to try to correct it and let you know when what they are saying is wrong.
The networks particularly didn't like speakers talking about the chaos that continues to ensue in Democrat-run cities.
His exceptional ability to inspire and his deep understanding of our system of government and the strength of American values is the man we can trust to preserve and even improve our way of life. Mr. President, make our nation safe again.
All right, Jake, give us your reaction to what we just heard from Rudy Giuliani.
Well, I mean, this is on a national stage, Fox programming, which is why maybe some people's parents and grandparents seem really scared these days. Democrats are to blame for everything. He wants to criticize Mayor de Blasio of New York. That's fine. There are plenty of New Yorkers who would probably agree with Mayor Giuliani on that. But some of the things he said about Joe Biden are just not true. He said that Joe Biden is...
I'll take it from here, Jake. Joe Biden is a moron. That much is obvious. They were particularly upset that while Joe Biden spoke in an empty auditorium, President Trump spoke to a crowd of hundreds on the White House lawn.
Are people worried that there is going to be some super spreader event at the White House, perhaps?
You know, the response from many Republicans and people who see this is that, well, there were huge, massive protests across the country over the course of summer, and people weren't wearing masks, or even if they were.
This is on the lawn of the White House.
Now, I want to check in with our White House correspondent, Jim Acosta. First to you. First of all, what are you hearing from the White House about the lack of social distancing tonight? You had about 2,000 people sitting very close, and most of them were not wearing masks.
That's right, Wolf. We not only heard a lot of gaslighting tonight, we possibly saw and witnessed some super spreading from this event.
Jim Acosta, a man on the White House lawn, not wearing a mask, complaining that others weren't wearing a mask. Nobody was more upset, however, than MSNBC's Joy Reid, who I'm starting to suspect, like Jim Acosta, is just a performance artist on our side working to make the mainstream media look like fools.
That was not an American president giving an acceptance speech. That was a monarch. It was very much like what Castro used to do, an hour and 10 minutes that clocked in of just, it wasn't a usual Trump speech with his ad libs and he did the sort of humor kind of thrown into it. He said, the fact is I'm here and they're not. He made the White House into the Trump palace. If democracy in America ever falls and we become a complete autocracy with a decrepit leader and his corrupt family moving their trunks into the White House and never leaving, if we become the old DRC, or we become what Brazil is now, if we just fall as a democracy, tonight is what it will look like. This is what it will look like to have a decrepit, corrupt monarch. This was a crime. Every cabinet member that was sitting there was violating the Hatch Act. Ivanka Trump was violating the Hatch Act. This was repugnant to see a campaign sign festooned on our property on the White House with a big iron gate outside so that the people can't even come in. This was repugnant. This would be the end of America. If this is what we're going to be, this won't be a democracy. That's a monarchy. It was repugnant. Sorry.
It's the end of America, she says, because the president's daughter is absolutely stunning and equally intelligent. I think Joy's just upset that she may be looking at America's first female president. The one thing I wish I would have paid more attention to during the convention were the call-in shows on C-SPAN, which, as you may know, can get quite entertaining.
Our first call comes from Scranton, Pennsylvania. Joe on our line for Democrats. Go ahead.
Good morning.
Good morning.
If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
Okay, so that wasn't a real caller, but some genius actually did find a C-SPAN clip of them taking a call from a Joe from Scranton and dubbed it over. Even though President Trump's speech on Thursday was well past old Joe's bedtime, by now he's heard all about it, and I'm sure he's getting quite worried that the Trump train is going full speed ahead.
Not a joke. Not a joke. Fact. Not a joke. Fact.
Yeah, that ain't a joke. And you know that it's true. And if you want to get 20% off of my new Come On Man Trump 2020 shirt, my Dare to Re-elect Trump shirt, my Cops Lives Matter shirt, or any of my awesome designs, head on over to my online store, markdice.com, or click the link in the description below, enter the promo code OLDJOE, one word at the checkout, and check them out.